The other members, we have Peter Brothers is the selectman's representative.
Good evening, everyone.
Next to him is Roger Sorrell. And on my right, I have Ann Butler, Richard Gerken. We have from the town Angela Lebret, the town planner, and Mary Lee Harvey, town clerk. Okay, we have the minutes for January 28th for review and approval. Is there any questions or?
I guess you forgot that part of the announcement.
I know that.
Mr. Chairman, while she's doing that, just for the record, I was absent with notice last month, and so I will abstain from the vote on the minutes.
Okay.
I have to do the same, so I don't know if we have enough to pass. I'm going to have to vote it on next time.
All right, will do. Okay, we have a couple of application submissions today, and we'll start with the application, and the first one is Jenny Abrilio, I guess, proposed.
Alibria. It's Alibria. Alibria.
Alibrio. All right, well, I'll see what I can do next time. Propose, I can be original on how I pronounce it. Proposed site plan for a home occupation to operate a beauty salon in the lower level of her home, tax map U15A, lot 12, located at 7 Bernard Ridge Road in the residential district. Angela?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. This is a site plan for a home occupation for a hair salon. The checklist and abutters list are on file. The fees have been paid, and it's recommended the application be accepted as complete for a public hearing this evening.
Okay, do I have a motion or?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second for acceptance of the application. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next application, Terry F. Thompson Trust and Roger B. Thompson Jr. Trust and Paul and Elaine Taylor. Proposed boundary line adjustment between tax map U32, lots 6 and 7, located on Harrison Road and Evergreen Lane in the Shoreline District. Angela?
Yes, thank you.
This is a boundary line adjustment application. The application checklist and abutters list are on file. The fee's been paid. A waiver has been requested for environmental information such as soils, topo, and wetlands. It's requested due to the proposed limited scope of the adjustment and that both lots are already developed. It's recommended a waiver be granted and that the application be accepted as complete for a public hearing this evening.
Okay, do I have a motion on the application and the waiver?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on the matter of Terry F. Thompson Trust and Pauline and Elaine Taylor proposed boundary line, I will make a motion that we accept it as complete for the purpose of proceeding to the public hearing.
And that includes the waiver.
That's correct.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next we go to the public hearings, and that'll be on the two applications we just had. So we'll start with Jenny Abrilio. Alibrio.
He's going to work on Barnage, too.
Hey, I got Thompson and Taylor right there. That's pretty good for me.
I'm Jenny Alibrio, and I'm here tonight because I'd like to move my current salon to our new home that we just purchased on 7 Barnard Ridge Road in Meredith. I currently have an existing salon in my own home, my old home in Bolton Grove, New Hampshire. I'd just like to move that here to Meredith. And I'm the only employee, the only stylist in the salon. It's a very small business. I generally operate 2 days per week, occasionally a third if a night is needed. And that's about it.
Okay. Angela, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Sure. I'll just direct you to, in your packet, right after the staff report is numbers 1 through 11, and those are, you can find that in the zoning ordinance, and you have to find that basically the home occupation has to meet all of these criteria. And Jenny and I went over them, and I also went over them with Bill Edney, but essentially I'll just run through them quickly. The exterior of the home will continue to have a residential appearance, and because the business is wholly going to be located on the first floor, there's going to be no modification to the outside. It would suggest the business other than the sign. The business does not affect the primary use. It does stand alone. The number of employees are supposed to be limited till 4, and Jenny is going to be the only person working that salon as she's the resident. There'll be no obvious commercial interruption or interruption to the residential appearance of the neighborhood. The home occupation has to be wholly contained within the residence or an accessory structure, and that it is. The sign is limited to 6 square feet, and her existing sign, I believe, is less than that she would like to move if she can make some modification to the sign, and I think you're still figuring that out, but you will have to request a sign, you'll have to get a sign application, and like it's limited to 6 square feet, and
Okay,
you
yeah, it
understand
is
that.
smaller than that.
There'll be no electrical or mechanical equipment, nothing loud's going on.
Can I have clarification of what?
Sure, like maybe if you're repairing vehicles and you have a lift, that might be loud or something like that. I don't know. For example.
Does not refer to illumination.
I guess in mine, I mean, you're not supposed to have any outward appearance, so including strobe lights to attract people to your business, I guess.
I don't do that.
No. And it's definitely permitted use in the district according to our zoning. And it is one of the customarily seen home occupations. It's actually listed in the ordinance as one. And then also I'll direct your attention to the next page. There's just a summary of what's being proposed. And the home occupation is not supposed to exceed 25% of the square footage. And so we added up the total square footage of the house according to the assessor's records and took the square footage of what the business is supposed to occupy, and it came out to 22%. There's also a site plan in your packet of the bottom floor and garage. I think it's a walkout basement.
Yes.
Yes. And then also, there's a tax map in the lot that is, the site is highlighted in yellow. The lot coverage isn't noted on the site plan, but the lot is something like 65,000 square feet, and so 30% of that is nearly 20,000 square feet, and just by looking at the aerial photograph in your packet, it's not nowhere near that. Nothing on the exterior is changing, so there isn't any zoning issue being created or compounded as a result of this proposal. It does have a shared well and a private septic system, and utilities are on site. We discussed the signage. Parking, there's 2 parking spaces in the garage, and that would be for the residential use, and then there's a couple parking spaces allocated outside in the driveway area that would be for customers. Like, you know, I think you don't ever have more than 2, usually just one person
It's
and then
one-
possibly an overlap.
Yeah, if one comes before the other has left, that would be the overlap.
And that's all I have. Is there any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
just a couple of questions if I may. Could Angela just confirm with me, on a home occupation, is that sole owner and sole operator, or could there be multiple, shall we say, hairstylists underneath the acceptable use?
It's required that the homeowner, that the occupant be the person that owns the business or that runs the business. Because we've had a home occupation previously in a duplex that was being rented. So it has to be the occupant having the home occupation. It doesn't necessarily have to be the owner. And if you have employees, then you still have to be, that still has to be your business in your home. You can't have other hairstylists and you decide, you know, you're not going to do that anymore. So
The only reason I was questioning that as a follow-up, Mr. Chairman, if I may, is, you know, a matter of parking spaces. If you have multiple employees, it might be a different scenario. And then I had one other question. Do we, in terms of our approval, have any responsibility for a butter notification when there is a shared resource, like a shared well?
And the
Assuming
abutters have
probably a
been-
conversation or something, or there's an agreement or something, maintenance involving this agreement?
the abutters have been notified, and also we read the well agreement, and it doesn't limit anything. And being only 2 days a week, I don't think that
No,
this would be.
no, it just
But yeah, we
begged the
discussed
question,
that.
that's all.
Yep, we thought of that.
Yep, thank you.
Pass that around a little bit.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, next I'll open it up to the public. Is there any questions from the public? I don't see or hear any, so I guess I'll close the public portion of the hearing and move back to the board for any additional questions, comments, or a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Peter.
I'll get a motion out there. In the matter of Salon Al Librio at tax map U15A Lot 12, 7 Barnett Ridge in the Meredith Bay watershed in the residential district for the proposed site plan for purpose of establishing a home occupation. It would be, the motion would be to approve subject to a signed application as required from the building department showing compliance with our maximum area, and also the planning board will reserve the right to review and amend any approval as provided in our site plan regulations number 6 and 17.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Mary Lee, will you poll the board?
Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Gergen?
Yes.
Mr. Sabala?
Yes.
Mr. Buzzard?
Yes.
And Mr. Byer?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we have a boundary line adjustment, and it's for Terry F. Thompson Trust and Roger B. Thompson Jr. Trust, and Paul and Elaine Taylor, proposed boundary line adjustment between tax map U32 lots 6 and 7 located on Harris Road and Evergreen Lane in the Shoreline District. And it appears that there's someone here for the applicants.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Carl Johnson, and I'm from Advanced Land Surveying in Meredith, and I'm here representing both the applicants this evening for this boundary line adjustment. This is a situation where there are 2 existing lots of record that are fully developed on Lake Winnipesaukee, and they've been occupied for some time, and it's been known since there was a previous survey done that there was a slight encroachment of one of the driveways across the property of the abutter. And the 2 parties entered into discussion as to what would be the best way to solve the encroachment of the driveway going across the corner of the property. And we had discussed easements, and we had also discussed boundary line adjustments. And of course, easements are allowed, and easements would not require a visit to the planning board and could be executed separately and independently. But it still would be a situation where somebody was driving over somebody else's land, even though it was benefited by an easement. So they decided that they would try to pursue a boundary line adjustment where they would simply trade a couple of small triangles of land in the vicinity of where the encroachment was to kind of alleviate the problem. And these two minor, roughly triangular shaped parcels would be exchanged and merged with the abutting parcels to become permanently part of them. So essentially, you're just kind of reconfiguring the little corner of the property where this encroachment. As you see on the plan, there's a blow-up. And we're essentially transferring 456 square feet between the parcels. That makes this what's called an equal area exchange, so that the overall acreage of both parcels would remain the same. So even if they were previously non-conforming parcels by size, that would not change by the benefit of an equal area exchange. So we did not provide a complete survey of either one of the parcels. We essentially provided a map that shows the area in question with the meets and bounds description of these two parcels to be transferred. This area has been an area of some difficulty over the years in terms of establishing property lines, establishing right-of-ways, and the like, because there's a multitude of different plans that were prepared at different times by different surveyors. And in the perfect world, when you took all these plans and put them together, they'd fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. Well, in this particular case, you might need a set of clippers to clip some of the pieces off because they don't quite fit together. And that's not uncommon given the vintage of some of the plans and some of the deed descriptions. And there has been quite a bit of discussion over the years of Harris Road and where the other roads begin, where the town road stops, where the private road begins. I probably have Harris Road labeled incorrectly up above. It should be the other road, and I can probably change that as we go along. But the meat of the matter here is these two small triangles being traded between parties to alleviate the driveway encroachment. There are no structures near these two parcels, so there's not a situation where creating a new line is going to interfere with the structure in terms of a municipal setback. There's no need for any type of a state review of this boundary line adjustment because neither one of these parcels is going to be utilized for any type of sewage loading or septic system situation. So basically, the only approval necessary would be the boundary line adjustment granted by the planning board. Angela has a staff review, a couple of recommendations there. The areas of parcel A and B should be noted on the plan. They actually were noted on the plan right here. A and B both equals 456 square feet. She also recommended that we indicate on the plan which lines are to be discontinued, and I have updated the plan from the plan you have in front of you to show the lines that are actually going to be discontinued. And what I will do is I will highlight the line that is to be the new line, and I'll put the lines to be discontinued in grayscale so it'll stand out kind of a little bit better in terms of what the new line would be. As with all boundary line adjustments, there must be a statement by the attorney or attorneys regarding any mortgages that might be outstanding on the property. And if there are none, he would state that. And if there are mortgages, he has to provide evidence of a partial release to accommodate the change. Also, with any subdivision or boundary line adjustment, upon approval, we would set the pins and then we would verify that the new monuments of record have been set. That's pretty much the presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Just for clarification, can you state which parcel is going with which? It's
Sure.
not entirely clear from these maps, so
Down below.
stated here?
This parcel here, right now, is part of the land that's owned by the Taylors, and that's going to be conveyed to the Thompsons. And that will allow their driveway to be on their property. And in exchange, Mr. Taylor is getting a small triangular piece here of equal size, and that would become a permanent part of his property. So what was formerly the corner of his lot, which was near the sideline of this driveway, is now going to be a little bit lower, closer to the lake. And Mr. Thompson's property is going to move a little bit to the north to accommodate the fact that his driveway was previously encroaching. There are several unusually configured lots right in this area, not the least of which is, you can see this lot that's to the south comes up, and there's quite a large pointed dog leg that comes over here and actually comes to a point where the Taylor property is in the proximity of the driveway. And that appears on one of those other surveys that's in the area.
This end is discontinued
Carl?
here.
Yes.
Question, assuming that the boundary line adjustment is approved and parcels A and B are conveyed to the respective lot owners, what happens to those old pins? Do you remove those old pins? In other words, as shown on the list here, in other words, the black ones will show the new boundary,
Right.
and the red one where you see where N19 degrees 25, that one right there, that red pin there, does that not get changed?
Well, there's actually a pin out there that I didn't believe was in the right location. I think somebody thought at one point in time it was in the right location, and I didn't hold it as being in the right location. But as a general rule, I don't pull pins out.
Okay.
You know, it's not a good idea for anybody to be pulling pins out, even if they think they're wrong. And so I don't do it unless I'm specifically directed to do it by somebody. It's actually easier to reconstruct stuff, even if it's not the pin that's of the pin of record now, but you can show that was the pin of record 20 years ago. You got someplace to start from. So the answer is no.
That red pin stays, but it has no significance other than showing a delineation between the first iron pipe and the one that you've redone after, in parcel B, for
Yeah.
example. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if a surveyor obviously finds a pipe that is in error and can determine that it was set in error or it is not in the correct place, then occasionally they can remove them. For instance, in a new subdivision, it's possible for somebody to goof up and set the pin in the wrong place. In that case, we'd pull it out. But we'd make it known. We'd take off our ninja outfits and our black masks and make it known that we actually took the pin out. So, but that's the answer to the question in terms of the pins.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes.
one last note, just looking through it, his explanation down here of parcel A and B, while you're doing some of your major changes.
Clean up?
Your changes, pick up the me and make it B.
Yeah,
And
okay.
parcel B,
Parcel me?
yeah, parcel B.
Right.
Yeah.
Spell check. Doesn't work when it's a word, right?
This is true.
I got that right here.
Yeah. Spell check is an excellent tool.
Well, would you then capitalize the A and the B?
I'm sorry.
Capitalize the A and the B?
No, it says parcel B is to, and it's supposed to say be conveyed, and it
No,
says
the next line,
is to
the
me.
next line, Carl.
Oh, you want me to make them big?
Either A or B,
Oh, we'll make them big.
make it B.
Right. We'll do that too.
Consistency. Good idea.
Since we've gone there.
I had a teacher that did that once too.
Former attorneys are always.
Oh, don't go there.
Okay, any further questions or anything, Angela, you'd like to add to
I
this?
think Carl got it all.
Yeah.
Every point and more and more.
Yeah, right. Hearing no further comments, I'll open it up to the public. Does anybody in the public wish to speak, have questions, comments?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
If you would, go to the mic, please.
Appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Chris Crocina. I'm a butter in both parcels here.
You're gonna have to talk into the mic, it's not.
Normally, I don't need to talk.
You're too tall.
I'm trying to calm it down. I'm in a butter for this application, and I am opposed to the drawing as planned is here. I'd like to, on a couple grounds, the current subdivision for this parcel is, for the Taylor property, and my property anyways, is a 1970 Merriment plan. And I got a small copy I can give each one of the board members.
Which one is yours on here? I think it's number one.
So this is a bigger copy of what I just gave you. This is the current Town of Meredith subdivision that is approved when Taylor purchased this property, and where I believe it's Thompson is the other applicant, purchased their property. This was on file at the Registry of Deeds. It was approved by this board back in 1970. So the lots were given off of this subdivision plan, not off of Carl's plan. My house is this, the Crocina lot. I own lot 1, I own lot 2. And as you can see on the plan, the right-of-ways here, they belong to the Harris heirs. My grandmother was the original subdivider of all these properties. So any property that wasn't specifically given out to people is left to my family. And if you take a look at the difference between the two plans, I believe it's Carl's. Let me move this over a little bit. So this parcel B here on Carl's plan is actually in the right-of-way that the Crocina heirs own. And no matter who owns the property, the right-of-ways are still remain. So even if this property got flip-flopped, the right-of-ways would still remain there. I also have the Town of Meredith definition of the right-of-ways. It says, so by this definition, a right-of-way should mean a strip of land used for intended or used for a street, crosswalk, water main, sanitary, or storm sewer main or for other specific use, including public use. The uses of the term right-of-way for land plotting purposes in these regulations shall mean that every right-of-way hereafter established and shown on a recorded plan is to be separate and distinct from the lots and parcels adjoining such right-of-way, and not to be included within the dimension or areas of such other lots or parcels. So this new plan that Carl's proposing here for the applicants is trying to take a previous right-of-way that's been in existence since 1970 and include it into their property. Parcel B is 100% on the Crochina Harris property. Parcel A may be in the Thompsons' meets and bounds, but it doesn't extinguish the right-of-way. And the right-of-way has always been there, at least since 1970. And Carl, if he's looked at the other maps, there's even maps that go back way further than that, before these roads were ever built. I have my land surveyor here, Webster Stout, and he can testify as to the accuracy as of what I'm saying. But in the nutshell, the proposed applicants don't own the property or don't have the right to use the property. You understand? Any questions?
Excuse me, did you obtain this right-of-way definition from the ordinances and standards that were in place in 1970?
I believe if you look it up, when I researched this, I think it went from the state. You're supposed to send your planning board minutes to the state every year. And I went through those archives, and I don't believe that that definition has been changed according to your records. If you have something
No,
different.
I don't think that it's been changed. I think that it was just put in effect. This definition right here is a newer definition. Back before, they used to subdivide land and put right-of-ways over land that was owned in fee. So if you had a right-of-way, but the underlying fee ownership would be to the property owner, regardless of who owned the property underneath. Everybody who was granted that right-of-way to pass still would have that right. So I know this isn't the definition that's in our zoning ordinance, but give me a second, I'll look that up.
That's all right. We
Yeah.
have some time. We can research that back. According to the research that I've done, that definition has been straight back into whenever the date was that the
is the
zoning and the
right-of-way-
planning actually took place.
Is the right-of-way, I believe that these right-of-ways are all private, they're not public.
That's correct. They're all owned by
Right.
us, the
And-
Harris.
Right. So I think this definition, it talks about I think it talks about public use. Okay.
Was the current Taylor's deed?
Yeah, it would have been nice to
Submitted with the
receive this
application.
before tonight, I would have been able to answer a lot of questions.
Well, I just got notice Thursday. I mean, I
Okay.
tried to get this earlier. I mean, I'd be
Okay.
happy. I mean, the general thing here is I'd like to spend some more time, at least to have my surveyor talk with Carl and try to work these differences out on the exact depiction of the map. But from what
I'm
I
sorry, I'm trying to follow, this is all I'm just trying to digest it. So you're saying that these are right-of-ways that you own?
That's correct.
Well, I'm not,
Because this original plan shows a pin that goes over the right-of-way.
And where are you speaking of?
On your plan.
If you go to the small sheet that you handed out, and, I mean, was it the intention that somebody, whoever prepared this plan back in 1970, was that their intention that these right-of-ways were owned in fee by you, and that they intentionally put the corner of a boundary right in the right-of-way?
those deeds
Do you
you'd
see,
have,
do you
you'd
see
have,
right here, like that?
right, that, I understand
That would-
that pin
I
that
feel like
you're
that might be
saying,
a
but as you
conflict.
can see, if you read Taylor's deed, it is two separate and distinct lots. That pin is not there in Taylor's deed. And this, and the deed here referenced, what's the deed here for Taylor's, Carl? I got my far side car box is on here, all right. It's this one here, right, 1766?
552.
Do you have that one, Carl?
Not in my file right now, Chris.
Did you provide it to the town?
I don't normally provide copies of the deeds to the town.
We don't need them.
How could, I mean, the maps are made off of the deeds.
Right, and the surveyor is certifying the accuracy of that plan based on the best information that they have.
Oh, and that's what I'm saying. My surveyor here is saying that this print basically is not
I think it's
accurate.
also something like this
So
somewhere.
I guess we can hear from your surveyor.
I'd like to hear from your surveyor. Because
So,
I'm trying to understand the concept of right-of-way as I understand it, okay? I mean, I think Angela is pointing out an interesting feature here, and that is basically an issue of a land that's fee-owned with the ability of someone else to transgress over that, okay? In other words, it doesn't affect the fee ownership. You seem to be stating that these rights-of-way are your fee, and that's simply contrary to the common definition of a right-of-way, in my view. But I'm willing to listen to that.
What
I have a
I-
great response.
Okay, okay.
Let me just get in there for a second, Chris.
Oh, yes, Carl.
Mr. Chairman, Carl Johnson again. The planning board meeting is really not the place to have the board decide whose property is what. That's between land surveyors and judges and whatever. I would be more than happy to ask for a continuance of the hearing, to give Chris and his surveyors some time to look things over, maybe have a meeting, talk about things. I've done extensive research on this, and I will be the first to admit that there are some things that are not crystal clear. But I will say that a right-of-way is a right-of-way until such time as it can be conveyed by the people who have the right to convey it. And in this particular case, it's Mr. Taylor's claim that he was conveyed the fee to the land. Whether or not there are rights of people to use it is a much trickier, slippery slope. But that's where we're standing right now, and I'd be happy, because I don't think the board really wants to get into a prolonged discussion. I think it would, Chris would probably agree to extend
That's
it.
what I think that would be, I'd be okay with
And
that.
we could put our heads together, and, you know, if Mr. Stout has some information that would cause me to change my representation of the parcels, then I'll change it. I mean, we're all here seeking the truth. So I would just ask for a continuance, and hopefully between now and a month, we can have some of these questions answered for you.
Yeah, the board does not get into the legal issue of who owns what when there's a contested issue. Obviously, if there's a simple transfer, there's no contesting, we will, certify that the transfer is okay.
Sure.
And in case of this, where there's some question, we'd like that resolved, certainly outside of the purview of the board, and see if we can't get this all straightened out. So I certainly think it's a good idea. Now, if we were to do a continuance, would that be to next month? Because we normally want 2 weeks, or would you go?
Oh, this
Perhaps
is
2
a
months.
this is a noticed hearing, okay? This is a properly public noticed hearing, so you would not have to re-notify.
He's wondering if we need more time.
Oh, I don't think we need more time than that. I think we
Just 1 month?
Just 1 month.
Okay.
Right, it's either going to be some epiphany that I haven't seen before, which I fully admit that I would be. Now, I will also say that if it's significantly different than what I represent, we'd have to make a new application because the plan would be different. And that would be something that we would do on our, at our expense. So that's my suggestion to avoid getting into a detailed discussion about deeds and rights of way and good plans and bad plans.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would move to postpone, or how would you say that?
Continue.
Continue, thank you. Continue this matter to the next scheduled meeting on March 25th. It's 25th, for further review and discussion.
Okay, do I?
Second.
Could I just look at a quick calendar before I, 'cause
Yeah, I think
we
that's
ski-
legitimate.
Yeah, we ski fairly competitively here, and this is coming up pretty quick. I mean, I don't know if I'll be out of town or something on the 25th, but is that the next date that I can at least look at a calendar quick?
Yeah, if you
And I'm
will.
willing to take the 25th now if the board and Carl is open.
It's the fourth.
If I send something
It's
out.
the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but I got work, I got ski calendars, I got a
Well,
bunch of
what we're
stuff.
saying is it would be the 25th, or we could do it in the April
Okay,
meeting, I
that's okay with me.
suppose. But
I would prefer to do it in the next one.
Well,
you
Mr.
mean
Chairman,
in the March
I would
20?
prefer to do the March if I do not have a conflict.
I mean, if we were to go into April, then it would have to be acceptable by the applicant. We'd have to have their okay, because by statute, we have 65 days.
Here's what the deal is. I'm authorized to act for the applicant. By the March 25th meeting, I will have a plan with my stamp on it that I'm going to stand by. Then at that point, if Mr. Cucina has a complaint above and beyond our discussion, then the board can act on my plan and he can pursue it in other means, but hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully we'll be able to come to some mutual agreement.
I tentatively take the March appointment. It's just as long
Okay,
as
if
I'll
something
let
else
you know.
comes up, I suppose we'll deal with it at that point.
Sure.
Okay.
What are the dates specific?
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt things, but.
I made the motion to continue the matter until the next scheduled board meeting on the 25th of March. I believe that's correct.
Yes, do
I
we have a second?
seconded that accordingly.
Okay.
It is, I just.
We can take a voice vote on that, I think. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, this is your notice, all right, for the continuance. We do not separately notice the abutters that it's going to be continued, but I believe the two that have the issues know what the issues to be looked at are, so see you next month.
Yes.
Okay. Is there, next I'll go for correspondence or anything from Angela?
I have a couple of things, so we'll
Okay.
fold up the plans and.
Is this correspondence that's coming in? I'm trying to go by order here.
Oh, okay. I don't have correspondence, like,
Okay, are there any public comments?
I can correspond to you.
Any comments from the public? Hearing none, we'll go to any reports or things from the town planner.
Okay, so the ballot went up on the home page, so that means we probably will have more people looking at the zoning. So just wanted to give you a reminder of, our 4 items that are out there. Right, it's warrant article 2, 3, 4, and 5. I have received a couple of questions and, good conversations, good feedback. And that was before the warrant went up on our website, so I'm anticipating maybe some more questions. So I'm excited that people are reading it.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow up on that, there was also an article in the Sun today on that matter.
Oh, good, thanks for
There was
telling
an
me.
article in today's Daily Sun with regard to the proposed skate escape.
Yep.
In the business.
Oh, Michael Kidd.
Yeah, in industrial.
Yeah.
So you should look at that.
Yeah, we spoke last week. Okay, and also some training, I don't know if anybody's interested, but I'm just going to throw it out at you. So, let's see, there's an energy conference over at the Winnisquam School on April 12th on a Saturday, if anybody's interested in going.
I'm going.
Right, you are going, as part of the Energy Committee.
So
But I'm
if
just
anybody
putting it
wants to
out
come
there
with
for the
me.
planning board.
Saturday, have a free Saturday.
I'm working.
You're working.
Yeah, and then March 21st, there's at the Center for the Environment at Plymouth State on March 21st. I think it's like from 8 to 3 or something like that. That's midweek. There's a watershed conference. And so there's some good speakers there. So if anybody has any interest, let me know. I can forward you the, send it to you, Richard. Anybody else? Dan? I'll send it to the whole board.
Yeah, forward it to Ed because he might be interested in that.
Okay, so that's the Watershed Conference. There's also a climate change conference. It's about resilient community resiliency and, you know, with stormwater matters and roads and all sorts of different things, very interesting things. And so this is it's a big conference. It's kind of costs a lot of money, but Antioch University has offered us to apply for a grant that would pay for a large portion of the registration. So I'll send that to you as well. It's a climate change one. So when you see the price tag, don't be afraid because we've been invited to apply for a grant up to $375 that would pay for travel and registration. I think that's in Manchester. You know, it's for DPW officials and planning boards. You know, you're reviewing things like stormwater management plans and things like that. So that's it. I'll send you these things then. And if there's interest, let me know, and I have to run it by Phil to have his approval. Okay, that's it.
When is, what date?
Oh, how to change.
Yeah. Because I know that the stormwater management is, you know, we've had issues with that recently, so it's...
It
something
is
to
in the
address.
spring, could be like May.
All
I
right.
know, I grabbed that.
Okay, whatever.
So the one at the PS, or Plymouth State is Friday, March 21st, 2014. The other climate change one is a little bit far out. But in order to get the grant, your municipality has to have a team that consists of at least 2 people, one being a municipal employee and the other one being an elected or appointed decision maker.
Okay.
So,
So any of us who's interested in the Far Out Conference can go.
Or Conservation Commission or Select Board.
Hearing none, I say I will accept your motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
You don't want a second?
If you wish to,
All in favor?
Anyone objecting?
you want these plans?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, well, hand them out again if it doesn't change. Okay, keep that one, keep it too.
You're gonna change, Tom?
Me to me.
Yeah.